Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is March 18th, 2016. My name is Lynn and I'm your host. So welcome. We have an hour worth of sewing ahead of us. I hope you have a project and you're ready to dig in. Tonight, we're going to do Dear Jane, and we're going to talk about our week. We haven't done Dear Jane in a long time, I know. And what we're going to do, if you want to do it along with me, is I-4 stability. Is that right? Stability. Yeah, that's the one we're going to do. And I wanted to share with you a picture that Sue Norton sent last week of all of her Dear Jane blocks that I couldn't get open. And I wanted to share with you this eye candy. Isn't that wonderful? And that's just the beginning. Sue, I love your blocks. And let me see if you've done, I don't see stability in here at first blush. And last week, you were working on Family Reunion. I bet that's beautiful. I love those colors. So welcome, everyone. I hope you've had a good week. I have already printed out my paper piece. I use the Dear Jane electronic quilt software, and I printed it out, and now I've pre-printed. My colors I'm going to use are just this same white on white that I've been using for all of my Dear Janes, and then this dark blue. I'm doing a beach-themed quilt. For those of you who may not know, I know a lot of you already do, I'm doing beachy themes. This is my pile so far. I'm having fun with it. And it's nice to see, you know, no matter how many times I go through this, I remember like the one I made with Joyce Morganelli is in here. That had to be over a year ago. There are some that I did on the vineyard last year, some that we did probably last fall. So, and what I do is I write on the back of them the date I complete it, the name of the block, my name, and then I also document it in my Dear Jane book. So, with that, and I have a long way to go. So this is, even though this is on my UFO list for this year, I did not commit to finishing it. I just said I'd make progress. So that's what we're going to do tonight. For those of you who are new to FiberCast, welcome. I hope you've subscribed to us through the YouTube channel. That's the best way to be alerted when we go live. I usually do go live every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for Kathy, who's out there in the Central region, and a lot of you. Grace Kirby, I will send your shirt tomorrow. I have not sent it. I was traveling, and when I received your address, I was on the road, so I have not sent it out, but it is going to come. And I do have the size that I promised last time. So I literally am doing paper piecing, with the exception that in the middle of this one, it's curved. I'm literally using just a blank white to put it all together, and then I'm going to applique the curved piece on top. So that'll be the last thing I do after it's all put together. So there's the middle one. And now, oh, you know, I don't recall if we've done any paper. Yeah, we've probably done paper piecing with this machine, haven't we? I love this machine. I've had it cooking, as you can see. Can you see what's behind me? This is the Scrappity Doodah that we were working on last week. And it's coming along. I've got about half of it done. It's going to be king size. And I must admit, I'm liking it a lot. Okay. So as always, you just need to line these up. I get better at it as I go along. Put your stitch down low. I put mine on a 3. On my Bernina, I usually get it down to, oh boy, What do I usually get it down to? 1.5 maybe? Maybe even a little bit lower. And this one, because it's such dark fabric, I'm going to try and trim it pretty close so that you don't see it through the white seam allowance. So, like I was starting to say, we do FiberCast every Friday. It is just a way for us to get together and complete our projects, whether we have been volunteering during the week, whether we've been working, whatever we've been doing. And many of us are on the road. Like Jean, I know, is literally, last I knew she was in New York traffic. She's heading down to either Pennsylvania or Long Island, I cannot remember where, or maybe New Jersey or Maryland, or maybe Delaware, for a girls' soccer tournament that one of her daughters is playing in. So she sent a text a while back and said she was in a lot of traffic down around New York City. So there's the first piece. Anyway, my point was that some people watch FiberCast from the road, and that's wonderful. From their iPad or from your iPhone or your Android, whatever you have. We love that, and this is just a way for sewers and quilters and anyone who likes fiber to commune. So welcome. Okay, so I'm literally just moving ahead. This one's going to come together really quickly, and I do have a second block ready to go. Ooh, and who's that? It's kind of convoluted. I literally, as I'm sewing this, I'm taking this foot, my left foot, and I'm crossing it over to use the foot pedal, like I've been doing for a long time now. And it has been getting a little better. I've been walking every day this week. Spring is coming here in New England, with the exception that, you're not going to believe this, we may be getting snow on Monday. So we'll just go with it. But it sure has been pretty. And boy, has it been nice not to be traveling. Although, I guess since I've seen you last, I did go to D.C., didn't I? I went down on Sunday, and it was beautiful. There were some trees blooming, and did business, and then I was home by Tuesday, so that was good. So here's a second unit. So we do FiberCast every Friday. We have people joining us from Australia, from the UK, from Canada. I can't say we have, and we have a lot of us here in North America. I can't say that I remember anyone from South America. If anyone's out there, send me an email. And that's the other part. The way to send pictures of what you're working on for this hour, post it to the Facebook page, the Simply Colorful page, or send me an email to that's for my first name, marquidant@gmail.com. It's LMARQUEDANT@gmail.com. And show me the pictures. And so with that, I just heard a ding. Who is out there? Oh, Chris Myers. Hi. Chris says, I'm watching while working on my day sale blocks from Missouri Star Weekend. Oh, she says, I'm motivated. Oh, this sounds good. She says, I'm motivated to be in the studio while 6 teenagers dance on the second floor. Oi. I bet you are. Chris, for those of you out there from Dockside Quilting, has a long arm in her. She has a wonderful sewing area downstairs. It's a whole floor, actually. So enjoy that. And I bet you have your nice chairs there, too, right? I may have to come by and see you this weekend. Day sale blocks. Oh, I love those. Send a picture if you want. Let's see. Oh, for those of you who were on last week, you may have heard my sister Karen was painting, or her daughter had moved all of her things out, and she was turning the bedroom into a sewing room. And she asked what color paint, and she followed the guidance to use the color, her favorite color, and she painted it the most beautiful light pink. She sent me a Snapchat earlier tonight, and it was beautiful. And she was already moving boxes of fabric in, and she'd set up her quilting table, cutting table. So KB, if you're out there, post pictures if you want, or we can wait until you're all done and then post pictures, whatever you want. But we're living vicariously through you. The color, I love the color. So now I'm just doing another piecing. And for, you know, paper piecing is like a backwards puzzle. But once you get going, it makes sense. You're literally sewing on the lines that you've printed out, and then on the other side, the fabric that you're layering on top of each other is the right side. And it's a great way to make very tiny blocked pieces. And they much more accurately than you would if you measured. Although, Joyce Morganelli, if you're out there, Joyce actually is one of the most, I can't say, because Kelsey's pretty precise. But anyway, Joyce does a wonderful job of measuring her Dear Jane blocks. And Joyce, if you are out there, if you need anything from my Dear Jane software, let me know. Send me an email. I can print them out and pop them in the mail for you, if that would be easier. I would be happy to do that for you. I thought this blue would work quite well because it's a relatively small print. And it's a big contrast. I'm hoping that some of the polka dots, the white polka dots, don't find themselves on one of the seams, because sometimes that'll make it look a little muddy. And then, I don't know if I showed you this part, but when you have excess fabric here, you just cut that off. If you were following Carol Doak's method, you would use your plastic lip-edged ruler, either probably an eighth of an inch, or a quarter of an inch if it's a bigger piece, and you could make much more precise cleaning up of the edges. I hope that made sense. The seam allowances, you use her ruler, or that quarter inch or eighth of an inch lipped plastic ruler, to actually create very clean seam allowances on the back of a paper piece. Let me see if I can try to show you. So I've just literally sewn here on the top, on the line, and on the back I sewed white onto blue. Now, before I fold it back here and just fold it down for good, the seam that's created is actually kind of sloppy, and it's big. So what I do is I go back here to the front, and I fold back the original paper template. So now I have the the fabric seam there. With Carol's method, you literally use your lipped ruler and you butt it up against the folded back paper, and then you make a nice clean cut, 1/8 of an inch seam with your ruler. For me, instead of doing that, I'm just going to use my scissors here and cut about 1/8 of an inch seam. So that's what I was meaning by cleaning up your seam. Then I fold that back, and then now I have a cleaner seam, and I can fold that back. So now I'm going to go over here and put a blue and a white. For those of you who may be new to FiberCast, we're in our 3rd year, and what we're always amazed, we amaze each other about the fact, about what we are able to accomplish in just 60 minutes. It's amazing what we can get done. So we know weeks can be long. One week can turn into another week. Demands of family and work and everything that life puts in front of us can take us away from doing things that we really enjoy. And so this is a way to at least give ourselves permission. For me, I actually do it more than 60 minutes, as you know, but we can just give ourselves this time to do whatever we want to work on. Several of you knit, several of you crochet. We have rug hookers. I love it. That's why it's FiberCast. That's why it's not QuiltCast or Knitting Cast. I wanted it, knowing myself and the fact that I do tend to like different things. I get bored with one thing. I wanted it to allow for my different fiber-related whims. So thank you all for coming on the journey and indulging me. Because again, one other thing that has been true is I certainly am getting so much more done because you all are out there, and it forces me to do this once a week. So thank you. Thank you for that. After I finish, I'll do one more, this 4th one. And then we'll see who has sent email. Okay, so these are the 2 sides. And then here is one top. Now let's do the bottom. So far, of course, these are going to be my famous last words. So far, so good. This block has been easy to do. How many of you are doing the triangles? Crystal, are you out there with your mom? I hope you are. I hope all's well. When do you get to pull out the motorbike? I tell you, we're west of Boston, Massachusetts, and we're in the home of the Boston Marathon, where it starts every year on Patriots Day in April. And I have to there are runners everywhere right now on the streets, including our niece Holly, who's running. She's a teacher over in Wellesley, and she's running for her students that come in from Boston every day. They come out to the suburb to go to school, and they're in need of additional supplies, and so that's her. She is running for that. She also is following in the footsteps of her brother and her father and her uncles who have run the marathon. And I applaud her. What a feat. So Chris, if you're out there listening, did you hear that your retreat out at Missouri is all sold out? Maybe you were even the one who told me. So it's going fast. I heard last week, this was fun. So if anyone is out there who happened to be at the Missouri Star Quilt Retreat last week, send me an email and let me know. I'd love to know if you're home now and you still have the retreat glow and what you're working on. But I heard for those people who were at the retreat, they had FiberCast on last week. And I heard every time I mentioned Missouri, they all started to cheer. Isn't that fun? So fun. So I'm just swimming along here. Once I'm done with this one, then what I do is I square up all 4 pieces and then sew them together around the middle. And then it's ready for the final applique, which I'll do in front of the TV. Maybe tomorrow night. I could not sleep last night, so I found myself up watching TV, and I caught Saturday Night Live, which was pretty funny. And oh, and Mom, if you're out there, I've watched all of Downton Abbey for this year. So go ahead and keep watching. You're going to love it. When I went down to visit my mom, we watched 2 episodes from this year. And I came home and promptly watched all the rest. Or on the road, I watched them too. Then, of course, I sunk 3 hours into Bachelor on Monday night. Ay, ay, ay. Ben. He was the Bachelor, for those of you who I'm sure are dying to know. He fell in love with 2 women, and it wasn't until the last show in the last hour that we found out which one he proposed to, and in fact, he's still together with her, and they are going to get married. So that was fun. And the other woman that he fell in love with but didn't propose to is going to be the Bachelorette. So everyone wins. Which Christine, you predicted. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's out there? Oh, Christine. Christine says she knew about the October retreat weekend being sold out, and she can't wait to go. Yes, that's going to be fun. Oh, Chris, I love these blocks. I have to show these on the bigger screen. So these are Christine's day sale blocks. I really don't know why. I should just use this screen from now on. Aren't those fun? Oh, that is such a fun fabric. You know, Jenny was really, do you remember, for those of you who have been in front of Jenny, she says, trust the designers when they put together that packet of squares. Sometimes you don't think they'll all go together, but then you put them all together, and sure enough, oh, I love it. I love that Tiffany blue, that turquoisey. Oh, I know why I don't use this one all the time. I don't get all of my messages. How weird. I only get some. Kelsey! Hi, Kelsey. Kelsey says, hi, I tuned in late. I'm not sewing, but enjoying watching FiberCast while Andy watches politics. Woohoo! At least we're in the same room. That's good. Love your quilt. Bob and I do that all the time. In fact, now he's got an iPad too. So the two of us are surfing our iPad and we're surfing the TV. That's good. I'm glad you're together. Okay, so, and I'm glad you're out there. I am going to, hopefully, 1, 2, 3, where's my other piece? Well, let's trim these 3 off first. When I print these out from Dear Jane, I literally print them off with the seam allowance. Some programs you can choose, even I think Electronic Quilt, right, KB? Sometimes you can print your blocks with the seam allowance or without it, and you can add it on yourself. For me, I guess I like to have the seam allowance. So there's one. Really, even I can't beat the accuracy, or of course I can't beat the accuracy of paper piecing. Okay, so there's another. Oh, and Joyce, I use this thing all the time. Who has one of these that you put your scraps in? I love this. Joyce made that for us each at a retreat. And in fact, earlier today I emptied it. It's amazing how fast it gets filled up. So as I cut this, does anyone see the fourth one? The fourth piece? What did I do with that? I bet it's on the floor. How weird is that? Here's my center. There. Can you see this? There. Now, where's that piece? Yep, here it is. I'll be right back. Fell on the floor. Okay. Well, Kelsey and Andy, I found myself, I've been watching the political theater on the TV stations for, what, months now, right? And it's so entertaining. And I was thinking to myself, there's going to be a point here where before the conventions, they're not going to be as active, and I'm going to have withdrawals. I'm getting so used to hearing all the candidates live on TV every night. Okay. So, now I'm literally going to put these two together. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but of course the reason you want to do your stitches so small is so that you can tear the paper off more easily when you're done. Your needle becomes almost like a serrated scissor. And you just get a perfect seam because I'm literally sewing on the piece of paper. We're going to have to check and see who's out there, and then we're going to have to do a this day in history. Okay, let me make sure. Yeah, just fixing in. There, up and over. Okay, one more. This is going to be fun. Now I'm going to be hooked on Jane for a while. We may have to do this next week. Between that and this one behind me, the Scrappity Doodah, I want to get this finished to bring down with me. I'll be going to my mom's house in April, and I'm going to be painting the walls of the shop where the two beds are. My sister laughed at me. I bought 2 twin beds for Bob and me because it was much cheaper than buying a king-size bed. So we're going to put the 2 twin beds together, and then this is going to be one big quilt over it. And I haven't decided whether to do the sheets, do 1 pair of king-size sheets, or do 2 twins and then 1 king. I haven't figured that part out yet. Let me know if you have any suggestions. So check that out. I-4 stability, and then what I will do is in the middle, I will cut out that piece from this fabric and I'll applique it on. So let me just get some heat on it. We're going to have time to do another one. Okay, I'm going to cut this all off. All right, we'll document that in a minute. Let's see who's out there. Oh, how fun! So Cassandra is working on, she says, I'm enjoying FiberCast and working in my sewing room. Here are the tops I've been working on. The chevron one needs 1 more row, an orange one. And she says, have a wonderful weekend. That is great. That takes such discipline to stick with the chevron and then look at this tumbler. Love this. Ooh, what are those, little dogs? And there's a tumbler. Oh, those are great. Oh, my goodness, there's more. Those are great. I've never made a tumbler. Love that. Dawn, hi Dawn, our award-winning author, whose book I've yet to still link, so I apologize. I am certainly not helping my fellow quilters, and I apologize for that. Dawn has written the book 300 Quilt Tips, is that right? Something plus or minus that, and it was on a bestseller list. So you can get it on Amazon, Dawn Stewart. Anyway, that's not why you wrote, I know. Glad to see you. She says she's sewing with us. She loves paper piecing for accuracy. I know. I've seen you do it. You do great work. Those thread and scrap catchers are a must for all those trimmings. Have fun, Dawn. They really are. Thanks. I'm glad you're out there. Hey, Patty from Texas, maybe in PA. Where are you? She says, I'm traveling. Patty says, hi, Lynn. I'm only making hexes tonight, and I'm waiting to pick up my daughter, granddaughter, and son-in-law from the airport. Oh, I bet they're coming from Pennsylvania down to see you. We picked them up about 11 o'clock tonight, went shopping to pass the time, and picked up a die for my go. Oh, that's perfect. It's the 5-inch square charm pack size. Oh, that's perfect. Do you know what? No, these are 6-inch, I guess, so it's not 5-inch. But you could do this quilt behind us with that. Just cut it in half afterwards and then put in the middle strip. Aw, thanks for FiberCast, says Patty in Texas. Oh, enjoy. So glad to hear they're coming down to visit you. Robin from Northern Kentucky. Hi, Robin. She says, good evening, Lynn. I'm binding my Bugs a Lot quilt tonight. Whew, she says, the baby shower is Sunday afternoon, and I will have it finished just in time. Aw, she says, thank you for FiberCast. I love Friday nights. Oh, you've come so far. Robin sent us this picture a while back when she was putting it together, and I love how it's coming out. I'm trying to get it to move over. Look at that. Oh, and everyone's different. The hedgehog, the caterpillar, the bumblebee. You'll get it done, no prob. Norma. Hi, Norma. Norma says, I won't get to watch tonight. Well, when you're watching this, hi. She says, no, so my cell phone is so slow right now, so I will watch when I go to the library next week. Oh, good. Hi. I love your doodah quilt. Don't know if I spelled it right. You did. I just said it wrong. I finally went to the eye doctor, so hopefully I'll have my glasses next week. Oh, that's good. She says, I have cataracts, but not bad enough for surgery yet. Thank goodness. Hope you and all the others watching have a wonderful weekend. You too. And I'm glad you got some new spectacles, and I hope you're out enjoying the weather, maybe having dinner with your husband or your family. Glad you're there. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad people are out there. Gay McGee, hi, from Nebraska. She says, I just found you a couple of weeks ago, and this is my first live cast. Woohoo! Shout out to Gay. She says, I'm so excited to see it. You have kept me company for a few hours as I work and catch your past FiberCasts. Thank you. Oh, that's so good. Send pictures of what you're working on. Are you a quilter? She's out in, again, Nebraska. So that's wonderful. I'll do 2 more, and then we'll start another Dear Jane. I'm so glad you're all out there, and we will get to them all. Lorna, hi. Happy Friday. Lorna says, happy Friday, and she says, thanks again for the t-shirt. She said, today's my birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday. Watching you while I wait for my family to get home. And she says, I love the quilt behind you. I can't believe how fast you work. Can I grow up and be like you? You probably are. I know you are. Happy birthday. That's great. And Carol. Hi. Carol says, hi, Lynn. Not being creative tonight, just watching, and she says, keep sewing. Okay, I will. I'll get back right to it. Carol, as everyone knows, is my sister-in-law. Your brother is in the basement playing music, and it sounds great. As is your brother-in-law, Mike. He's down there, too. It's all good. So literally, I won't tear all of this out because this is also a front of the TV activity. But I basically am going to take off enough so that I can write in what this block is. So I literally take a ballpoint pen, and this is my documenting process. And I write here, I-4 stability. And then I write my name, Lynn. And I'm doing this literally while we're watching. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. And you know, I think we all need to document our quilts, because I'm looking back at things that I didn't document and I wish I had. In fact, I found a calendar from, had to be 20 years ago, where I got into the habit of, on each day, I would write something that happened that day, whether it was historic in the news, whether it was somewhere that I went, or something I did, or someone came over, or someone in the family did something. And it was really fun 20 years later to go and visually see this whole month's worth of little notes of where I'd been, and it almost takes you back to that time. It was really interesting. And I thought that would be fun, because without that, I tend to not remember those things. My husband is great. He remembers everything. So I thought I might try that again. Okay, today is 3/18/16. Okay, so I do that on the block itself. And then in my book, it is 3/18/16. What has happened today? Oh, and I use a glue stick. Oh, I have to go back into my little extras here. So I'll glue this in right here next to this. And what has happened today? Well, the reason I got so much done here today, I took the day off. It's been a great day. So that's what we're going to say. Completed on FiberCast after a day of cleaning and quilting, had the day off from work. Okay, now let's do another one. We have plenty of time. Let's put this aside. I want to do J4, Adeline's apron strings. It's very easy. It ends up being a cross. So now I'm going to go over to J4. There it is. And like I say, I used my Dear Jane and I printed out my foundation paper pieces. And I put aside some fabric. I think I'm going to do it in this. So it's a lighter one that won't be as contrasting, but it's a pretty big, they're pretty big pieces, so I think we'll be fine. We'll get 2 done. Tell ya. Okay. And I'm not going to skimp. Okay. And then we're going to use this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm literally creating the pieces that I'm going to put on. Yeah, I can do that. My paper piece. Okay, so I'm going to do this big one first. Oh, no, can't do that first. It says number 1 is this little piece here. All right, there's number 1. And then number 2 is a piece of this. All right. Turn it over and you just zip away. There, so I trimmed it. I've got it back. So there's that. And okay, so we'll now just trim off the excess. I'm glad I picked this one. I love that it's so big. Okay, there. And now I'm actually going to iron it flat. Like that. This one's tricky. But it can be done. Okay. I hope everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day. We didn't really do much around these parts here. Okay, so with any luck, fold this back. And I just noticed that Easter's early this year. Okay, there. And we'll fold that down. Okay, that's good. So there's that one. Now we're going to do this little one. It's just fun on Friday nights to unwind and just make something with our hands. Bob has continued to be painting the kitchen, and it's looking great. Okay. Here. Hi to Colleen if you're out there, and KK in San Diego. there's that. And for those of you who I may not know, Dear Jane is a quilt that was done by a woman up in Vermont in the 1800s. And the actual quilt that she did there is up in the Bennington Museum in Vermont. 1863, Jane Stickle. And there are 225 patterns or blocks, and they're all different, which is why this is a multi-year labor of love. And if you're not doing it, I hope you'll give it a try. That's my inspiration, that beachy look. And I have been checking out the Splendid Sampler. Is that right, what it's called? That Pat Sloan and another woman are doing for the year. They've invited guest designers. KK turned me on to it. What fun. You have to check it out. They release 2 blocks a week. And it's fun to look forward to. It's not that you have to do it, but the end result is going to be such a fun sampler that I predict will live for years to come. It will be like the Farmer's Wife or like this Dear Jane quilt. It'll be kind of a staple on our shelf for quilters who want a challenge, I bet. Okay, so there's one piece. And again, the name of this block is J4 Adelaine's Apron Strings. I'm not sure I even ever said that. I do like the big pieces. Oh, so Bob, movies just came to mind. Bob pulled up The Revenant, which Revenant, I did not know what Revenant meant. It means to return, as if from the dead. Anyway, I could watch it for about 2 minutes, and then I was bored silly. I couldn't even watch it. It wasn't for me. He said Leonardo did a great job. And there's a scene there with the bear fighting that I guess was pretty incredible. And I don't know what you all think or who's seen it, but I tried to watch it. On my short list is Spotlight. My Aunt Nancy said that was really, really good. Okay, I goofed. Darn. I sewed it off kilter. You see what I did? This is off by a good 1/4 of an inch. So I need to take it out. Why did I do that? Because I could. Okay, I'm going to try something gutsy. But I don't want it to... You have to be smart about this. You can use these as seam rippers, and they work great, but you can't do it facing any of your body parts. Of course, it's little teeny tiny stitches, too. It's classic. Ugh. Here we go. And I backstitched at the beginning, but I got that out. This will be an easy fix, and we'll be glad we did it. So KB is doing her studio. We answered that question. Last week we did a few quiz questions. Maybe we should do a poll about what people want to do this summer, if anything. Or are you liking working amongst yourselves? Maybe after Karen gets in her new studio, she could be inspired to create another sampler for us. I do love your designs, KB. Or what we really need to do is get some guests in here. Who knows? Maybe we could make another Raggedy Ann. I know Norma was talking about making that. Actually, we're making a doll. It's called Long Tall Sally next month at Doll Club. It's going to be a 12-inch high doll, so it won't be very high, and it will have metal armature in it, and it will stand on its own. I actually asked to learn how to do this, and Pat and others, Sarah, are going to teach us how to do it, and I'm very grateful that they're sharing their skill and know-how. Okay. So the trick here is to look at both pieces of the paper. Oh, here's what I did. That's what I did wrong. I didn't trim off this fourth side. Okay, so there's that. I have no idea what time it is. How are we doing here? Oh boy. All right, let's pretend I sewed that because I want to get to everyone who's written in, and we have just a couple of minutes left. How could that be? So Carol said keep sewing, and I did. Who else is out there? Sheila, we haven't seen you in a while. Hi. She says, I'm getting ready to watch you live tonight. I so enjoy FiberCast. I need to get back to work on my Dear Jane. Good. I can't wait to see what you do. And she says, I love the quilt hanging behind you. Thank you, Sheila in Tennessee. Again, it's Scrappity Doodah by McCall's. Oh, Sue, you are out there. She says, I'm ready for FiberCast where the quilts are born. Oh, that's beautiful. Ah, no way! Oh, you made my day, Sue. Oh, ta-da! Oh, Sue, you look wonderful. Thank you. Oh, and I love the cardinal behind you, and what a wonderful place to be able to sew. Ah, sew, girl, where quilts are born. Yep. Linda, hi, Linda Griffin. Oh, she says, tonight as I watch FiberCast, I'm putting binding on yet another UFO. Way to go. She says, you've really inspired me to get these older quilts done. She says, I have a sit-down quilting machine, yet I have been remiss in completing my quilts. These are the UFOs, which have been the focus of my attention because of you. Oh, I also wanted to share with you and your FiberCasters my completed lozenges, leader and ender challenge made from all scraps. I do love it. So do I. So again, this is from Linda G. You have to see this lozenges quilt. That is wonderful. I love that. I love how all the scraps make it move. And then this is what Linda has been working on. Another UFO. That looks great. I love those colors. Oh, and she's binding it. Way to go. And Linda says, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Sent from my quilt haven in Claremont, California. Ah, beautiful. Have a great weekend. Kathy. Hi, Kathy. She says, hello, Lynn, and all my fiber friends. So glad that I should be able to watch live tonight, knock on wood. I will be working on double sliced layer cake by Missouri Star Quilt Company. She says, I just started it a few minutes ago. Ooh, wonderful. She says, as I cut up shirts, etc., to get fabric, I try to get at least one 10-inch square to add on with the others to make a layer cake. That is a great idea. I try to get at least a few jelly roll strips, charm pack, tiny 1.5-inch honey buns, and I just try to, and just to drive me crazy, she says, at least drive me faster than normal, I cut up as many 1.5-inch squares to add to my box that is just getting a little full. I love it. My sister swears that they multiply when they're in the box. She made that whole quilt that's now at Missouri being quilted, if it hasn't returned yet. And she said she still has a box of 1.5-inch squares. So that's funny. She figures, so Kathy continues, she says, I figured I would need about, I say somewhere between 200,000 and 1 million squares. Okay. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. I will just keep getting a square everywhere I am, where I go. I'm doing my best not to do more than 1 square from each piece of fabric. Unbelievable. Kathy says, have a great weekend, and tell Jane I said hello. Hello to you. Have a great weekend. Oh, and Karen, home of the new studio. She says, hi. Hope you guys had a good week. I'll be moving my sewing gear into my newly painted sewing room tonight. I loved the advice last week during FiberCast that a sewing room should be your favorite color, so I went with an extremely light pink. Happy weekend from Karen. Well, I hope that I have gotten to everyone. Gay, welcome from Nebraska. I love that you are new to FiberCast. Ooh. Oh, I love this. Joe Anataki, hi. He says, who would have thought I would spend a Friday night with Denise watching you? I never would have, but I'm delighted. Joe and Denise live around the corner from us. Hi, neighbors. Are you inspired to make a quilt, Joe? I have plenty of fabric if you need some. I love that. And Marquet, I'm so glad you're out there. Oh, she says hi to Lynn and the FiberCast gang. She says, I love the Scrappity Doodah quilt on the design wall. It is beautiful, as is all the quilts you make. But don't you like this one kind of a little bit more? I'm thinking this is one of my favorite ones ever. I'm liking it a lot. Anyway, so I just wanted to say thank you for the shirt. Oh, good. It arrived so quickly I was shocked, and it looks great on you. Blue is my favorite color. Talk about getting bored. I take first place in that category. Oh, I don't know. I'm right there with you. I got tired of working on Clue 4 and 5 of Alitair, and the Kentucky River Area Quilt Makers Group are taking up lap quilts for the veterans, and they have to be done by May 31st. So I started working on that, and I want to do 2 lap quilts and should be able to get them done, hopefully. Marquet says, I will send a picture next Friday night. I should have more done. Oh, that'll be good. I'll look forward to that. She says, my little mommy is staying with me longer and longer now during the days, and I say it won't be long she will be moving in. That's good. She says, I'm letting her do it at her own pace, so hopefully she will be happy. But I don't get much done when she is here, if you can only imagine. But she is, #1 quilting will happen when I have time. I have already heard that I'm having company on Tuesday for a week, so we'll be going 4-wheeling, but I still should be able to do the quilts. Below is a picture of my mom's cat on my back porch. Well, have a great weekend. Your friend, Marquet. And here, on that note, is Marquet's mom's cat, and I think one more. Maureen in Pennsylvania, who gets to see us live. She says, I'm a little behind on the sampler, but thought I would show you the curtains I put in my house. Oh, no picture came. Send me another picture. I'll show it next week. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you got a lot done, because you know what we say around here. It's amazing what we can get done in 60 minutes. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday night. Bye. Thanks for being here.